Stairs in the static. I woke long before sunrise because Noah began to fuss. The baby monitor beside me crackled, a pocket of low thunder, then fell silent. I stared at the ceiling. The nursery lay directly below our room, and the old house carried every sound. A single floorboard sighed, maybe just settling, maybe not. The monitor hissed again. Soft, almost conversational. A breath parted from the noise and formed words that should not have been there at all. I'm going upstairs. It was my voice. Calm. Sleepy. Absolutely sure. I froze. Mara's hand rested warm on my back, still lost in her dreams. I pressed a fingertip to the monitor's plastic shell, as though touch would explain the impossible. I swallowed air that tasted of dust and lilac and felt something cold settle behind my chest. Another hush. Then movement, thin, deliberate, brushing the microphone in Noah's room. The sort of rustle a coat makes as someone stands up. I switched on the bedside lamp. Yellow light scattered the darkness but offered no comfort. Nothing else spoke through the speaker. Noah had stopped whimpering. He was either soothed or he was listening. I considered waking Mara. Then I heard the real house, not the toy speaker. A single stare complained. The second stare followed half a breath later. Slow. Careful. Exactly the pace I used when I tried not to wake anyone. My muscles remembered every creak in that staircase. Whoever was walking knew them too. I rose. The boards under my feet felt damp though they were dry. I took the baseball bat from the wardrobe, more habit than courage, and stepped into the hall. Light from our bedroom bled onto the floor, a weak island. Beyond it the landing sloped toward darkness and the top of the stairs. I waited. Silence. My lungs made too much noise, so I held my breath in short rations. Another stair groaned, nearer the top. The bat felt small. I told myself it was nothing, just the house cooling, a nesting raccoon, a trick of electronics. The excuses paraded past, shuffling, shy, and none of them looked convincing. I made myself look over the banister. No one on the staircase. Yet the air quivered as though someone large had just stepped away. I could smell worn leather and outdoor cold. The instinct to run down to Noah surged so hard my knees trembled. But the staircase lay open, a narrow gullet. If someone waited beneath the landing they would hear me, meet me on the lower steps, and I would be trapped. So I lingered, blinking, while my child lay somewhere below with a stranger or perhaps with my echo. The monitor in the bedroom crackled again, a faint repeat of the earlier words, softer, like a memory. I heard myself whispering again. I'm going upstairs. The sentence struck me differently this time. Upstairs, meaning toward me. But I was already upstairs. Unless the voice did not speak from Noah's room but from somewhere deeper, calling upward toward the attic, toward something higher than me. A draft slid past my ankles. The attic hatch rested over the landing, a square slab with a ring pull. We never used it. I saw the ring swing barely, almost lazy, as if disturbed by breath. I gripped the bat in both hands and nudged the hatch with its knob end. Nothing. The metal ring stilled. Behind me Mara's footsteps shuffled. She stood in the doorway, hair wild, eyes dazed. What are you doing? Her voice was too loud, brittle. I raised a finger, an appeal for quiet. Then the monitor in our room spoke again, only 2 words this time, but entirely clear. Come up! It was a demand, simple and soft, spoken in my child's voice. Noah had not yet mastered those 2 combined sounds, yet there they were. Mara heard them. Her face emptied. She whispered my name. I saw her decide not to scream. We both looked at the hatch. The ring moved a full inch, metal screeching lightly against wood. I thought of Noah's crib, Of my voice in the speaker, of cold dust above the ceiling beams, of something learning how to speak by listening through crackling plastic. I took one step toward the attic ladder, not brave, just curious, and Mara's hand caught my wrist. She shook her head once. The hatch rattled as though struck from the other side. Enough. I turned, ran down the stairs, every creak loud, no longer caring. Mara followed, barefoot and silent. We reached Noah's room. The door was open. The monitor glow painted the wall greenish like pond water. The crib swayed gently though the air in the nursery was still. Noah slept peaceful, small fists curled like seeds. Somewhere above us the attic hatch slammed. We looked at each other, tasted relief, and realized it was thin. Whatever wandered above had not left. It simply waited now. That was clear. Mara turned off the monitor. I unplugged it and wound the cord tight. Our son dreamed on, unaware of the words that had borrowed his tiny mouth. I whispered that we would leave at dawn. She nodded. Upstairs something dragged across the boards, slow, expectant, counting the hours until morning. We did not sleep again. Dawn arrived like a guest who had taken the long way and regretted it. Thin light, pale as skim milk, edged the curtains. We packed in silence. One suitcase for us, one diaper bag for Noah, nothing else. The house watched. I could almost feel it tilting, listening. Mara wanted to ring the police. I wanted to ring the roofer, the electrician, the priest, anyone but the police. We compromised by leaving first and deciding later. Noah gurgled, cheerful, unmarked by the night. Mara buckled him into the carrier seat. I hefted the 2 bags and the bat. We moved toward the front door as though walking across frozen water. Halfway down the hall a floorboard popped behind us. Sharp. Final. I turned. Nothing. The lock stuck. It always had. 2 twists, shoulder shove, then freedom. Except today the bolt refused to shift. I tried again. Metal clanged like a bell under a blanket. From the other side of the front door, someone ran a single fingertip along the wood. The sound was unmistakable. It started near the handle and traced upward, pausing near eye level, as though matching my height. Mara whispered that the back door might be easier. I nodded, kept nodding because I could not stop. As we crossed the living room, the house reset itself. Every doorframe clicked. The kitchen light flickered though no switch had been touched. The thermostat flipped to off. Simple gestures, small shrugs, a host showing displeasure. The back door latch lifted smoothly under my hand. For an instant I thought the worst was simple hysteria. Then I saw prints on the porch steps. They looked damp, not muddy, not dusty, just darker than the wood, shaped exactly like bare feet. Each foot pointed toward the house. Toward us. They had not been there last night. Dew had not yet formed. The prints should have faded if they were older. They gleamed, fresh as breath on glass. I stepped backward into the kitchen. Mara set Noah on the table, freeing her arms. She asked what I had seen. I told her nothing. She looked anyway and learned I had lied. We both heard a breathless chuckle, distant yet near, doubled by the acoustics of the pipes. It came from the floor vents. Something under us found the situation amusing. Fine. The car keys lay in my pocket. Windows remained an option. We could smash our way out, alarm the neighborhood, endure questions later. We dashed for the dining room, where the bay windows sat wide and low. Perfect exit. I raised a chair, prepared to swing. A gentle rap answered. 3 knuckles against glass. Tap. Pause. Tap tap. The pale outline of a face hovered outside, blurred by the frosted section of the pane. No features, only suggestion. Yet I knew the shape of my own head when I saw it. The chair drooped in my hands. Mara stepped between the window and Noah, instinctive shield. I tried the side window. Someone already breathed against it from beyond. Moisture spread, forming a faint circle, then another, as though two mouths pressed there, waiting. We retreated to the center of the house, an eye in a tightening spiral. Hallway. Staircase. Landing. Back where the night had started. Noah began to fuss at last, as if sensing the orbit of anxiety. I rocked him. The baby monitor sat unplugged in the diaper bag, yet a crisp burst of static leaked from it. No power, still alive. A voice rose, barely more than wind. Footsteps. The word repeated. Footsteps. Footsteps. The monitor clicked off. We could not leave, and did not dare stay. I opened the hall closet, searching for any path that did not yet feel haunted. A square of plywood leaned at the rear, covering a crawl space I had forgotten. Cool air flowed out. Earthy. Honest. It was escape of a sort. Mara hesitated only a second. She crawled in, Noah cradled tight, pulling the suitcase after her. I followed, dragging the plywood back into place. Darkness took us. Complete. Soil smell, dry and thin, reddened my throat. We shuffled forward on hands and knees. The crawl space ran beneath the entire ground floor and emptied near the detached garage. A freedom tunnel. My father had told me about it years ago when he left the house to me, a relic from some bygone handyman who liked shortcuts. Dust motes danced in the narrow light from my phone. I pushed the suitcase. Something scuttled ahead. Probably a rat, maybe just my hope. Behind us, the plywood creaked. Someone else squeezed in, shoulders brushing the frame. I knew the angle of those shoulders. After all, I had guided them through doorways all my life. Mara whispered for speed. My knees burned. Noah whimpered, a small, brave sound. The crawl space forced us to crawl single file, no turning possible until it widened. That was still 12 yards away. I counted each pivot of my joints. 6 yards in, the thing behind us spoke. Quiet amusement, one word. Closer. My name followed, coaxing, the way my mother said it when dinner cooled on the table. I told Mara to hurry again. She already was. Polished nails scraped the wood above us, mapping our bodies. Then the voice changed, no longer mine, no longer human, only rhythm. Tap. Pause. Tap tap. The same code from the window. We reached the hatch beneath the garage floor, shoved it upward, and tasted morning air. Cool, patient, full of possibility. We climbed out into the empty bay where my car waited like a surprised friend. Behind us, under the house, the crawl space exhaled. The wood plank clapped shut on its own. We sprinted to the car, daring the key fob to fail. It did not. The engine turned over. I reversed so fast gravel sprayed the trash cans. The house, faithful sentinel, watched us leave. No curtains flicked. No attic hatch opened. Silence, ordinary as milk. But the baby monitor on the seat beside Noah glowed, still dark-screened, still unplugged. A new voice, softer, female, maybe Mara, maybe not, offered a parting promise. I know the way. We drove until the tires seemed warmer than the air. Town rolled to fields, fields to forest, forest to the motel triangle at exit 40. Vacancy sign flickered red. Cheap, ugly, perfect. We checked in under a false name, although no one asked. Room 23 smelled of detergent and yesterday's coffee. A single window pointed at a drainage ditch. I locked it twice, hung a towel over the latch, then set the baby seat on the bed. Noah needed changing. Familiar routine steadied our hands. We moved gently, not wanting to startle ourselves more than the child. The television remained off. Instead, we listened to the air conditioner hum through fins packed with lint. Ordinary sound, blessedly dull. Mara called her sister, said we needed a day or two away, vacation stress, nothing serious. She lied well. I envied her. I plugged my phone to charge. No signal. Not one bar. Motel brochure claimed strong coverage. I stepped outside by the vending machines. Still nothing. The sky held a single tidy cloud, shaped like a pillow left behind. When I returned, the baby monitor rested on the desk, although I had left it in the car. Mara hadn't moved it. She assumed I had. Its screen stayed dark. No wires. Yet the unit breathed heat, internal parts busy. I asked Mara if she could hear that faint tune. She shook her head. I swallowed, tried again. Something distant to anyone else, close to me, sang a lullaby I recognized from childhood. Hush now, soft now. Morning waits for you. My mother used to hum those lines when storms growled and I swore monsters stalked the gutters. I hadn't heard it in 20 years. Noah quieted, listening too. He smiled. Baby approval. I shoved the monitor into the bathroom sink and covered it with a towel. The song grew muffled but lived on. Night settled. We took turns dozing. At 2:37 I woke. The air conditioner had stopped. The room lay still, heavy. Mara slept in the single armchair, feet tucked under her. Noah gurgled, half dreaming. The lullaby returned, louder, plain as water in a glass. It did not issue from the sink. It seeped from the walls, the carpet, maybe the mattress springs. I pressed an ear to the plaster. Music pulsed like blood behind it. I stepped into the breezeway. Every door remained shut. Yet a faint hum drifted along the hall. I followed. Room 31, 6 doors away, shone under its frame with skittering blue light, television static most likely. The lullaby fluttered from that crack, sweet and fragile. I knocked once. The song stopped on the final beat. Silence. Footsteps shuffled inside, too soft, more suggestion than fact. Then metal cried. The chain dropped. The door eased open 2 inches, no farther. Behind it darkness. No light, no static. Just smell of unswept corners. A voice spoke, hushed but cheerful, echo of my own again. You left the monitor. The door closed. Latch slid, chain rose. The lullaby resumed inside that room, louder, richer. I returned to our door. It had no number now. Paint bare. I tugged the knob and found it locked. My keycard lay inside on the dresser. Panic sparked. I knocked, called Mara's name. She answered at once, opened up. The number reappeared, 23, black on brass, exactly where it belonged. She asked why I was shaking. I lied. Bad soda, couldn't sleep. She pretended to believe. The lullaby in 31 quieted while we spoke. I'd almost convinced myself I had dreamed it. At dawn we checked out. The clerk looked up from a crossword, asked if we had enjoyed the fireworks last night. I said there had been none. He grimaced, rolled his pen between fingers. Strangest thing, he murmured. Thought I heard them too. Loud. Like pops right over the building. Guess it was the pipes. We left. Highway miles slid under us. We aimed for Mara's sister's farm, 2 hours west, plenty of witnesses, healthy animals, wide sky. Halfway there our phones found signal. Both displayed a missed call, unknown number, timestamp 3:17 a.m., minutes after I spoke to the door in 31. Voicemail too short to play. 0 seconds, just an empty file. I glanced at Noah in the mirror. He met my eyes, raised his tiny hand, and patted the air twice. Tap. Pause. Tap tap. I almost swerved into the median. Mara did not see. She hummed to the radio, unaware she echoed the lullaby's melody. Wind battered the car. I imagined something immense jogging alongside, matching our speed, barefoot on asphalt, grinning. We arrived at the farm, greeted by barking dogs and the smell of hay. Mara's sister welcomed us, no questions. Good. We unloaded and walked inside. That night we slept in a guest room with floral wallpaper. Noah shared space with us. The monitor remained in the car, battery removed. Still, faint static leaked under the door from the hallway. I opened it, ready for anything, perhaps even ready for nothing. Nothing was what I found. Silent corridor, dim lamp, good wooden floor. I closed the door. Static rose again outside, faded, rose, faded. The visitor could wait. But I knew it would not wait forever. It traveled quicker than cars and asked little of doors. I set a chair beneath the knob, knowing chairs were scraps of hope. Then I leaned over Noah and whispered a different lullaby, one he had never heard. He smiled anyway, as though he already knew the words. The night accepted that small act of defiance, and pressed its ear to the wall, listening, planning its reply. Mara's sister owned a century-old farmhouse, drafty yet sturdy. 3 locks on every entrance, more to keep wandering livestock out than people. Oak trees surrounded the property, their limbs scribbling across moonlight. Our first evening there, dinner passed quietly. Conversation about weather, crop prices, the price of milk. No ghosts invited. Midnight changed that. Thunder rolled in without rain. The dogs outside howled, then silence fast. I peered through the curtain. Gravel drive lay empty. Nothing moved. I lay down but left the lamp on. Mara drifted off. Noah snored softly between us. The old door latch twitched. Once. Twice. I sat up. The chair braced beneath the knob trembled. Something nudged, gentle, testing grain and hinge. I pressed my palm to the wood. Vibration, steady, patient. From beyond, my own voice carried, muffled but clear enough. It's only me. I felt the door consider opening of its own accord. Old houses like to oblige confident guests. I whispered, "No," and pulled the chair tighter. Silence swelled, became an ocean. Then a single knock drummed low, like the start of a heartbeat. Tap. Pause. Tap tap. The code again. Mara woke, eyes wide already understanding. Noah slept on. Tap. Pause. Tap tap. I told Mara not to speak. The dogs began to growl outside the windows, a rolling river of canine anger. They circled, sniffed, yelped, retreated. Something unsettled them. The hall lights flickered. We heard bare feet shuffle. Wood popped under slow shifting weight. I cracked the window, preparing to pass Noah outside if things worsened. Cold air poured in. It smelled of pine and static electricity. Then the visitor tried the knob again, impatient. Metal clicked backward though the latch sat vertical, locked. I watched it turn without fingers. The chair legs skated an inch. Desperation grabbed me. I flung open the closet, found an old steamer trunk, heavy, cedar-lined. Together Mara and I shoved it against the door, stacking more furniture until the knob vanished behind barriers. The house chilled. Frost webbed the inside of the glass though it was only late autumn. A voice deeper than any throat moaned once. It crawled through the keyhole, words slow. Door is only wood. The truth of that statement felt weighty. I imagine every ring of the tree once alive, now shaped into a fragile wall, remembering wind, craving wind again. Inspiration struck. I pulled the baby monitor from my coat pocket. Battery free. Plastic heart inert. I held it against the wooden door. If you want voices, take them, I hissed. This is easier. The presence stilled, listening through veneer. Then a sharp inhale, like someone smelling flowers. The monitor got heavier in my hand. I dropped it. The unit thudded but did not break. Lights flowed across its dark screen, pixel patches forming, dissolving, reforming. It began to speak, yet produced no words. Instead it ran the lullaby backward, notes folding into themselves. Noah stirred, uncertain. The door relaxed. Pressure eased. Feet padded away up the corridor, leaving dust rabbits swirling. For 1 hour we heard nothing else. I dared hope. Hope died at 2:41. Every locked door in the farmhouse blew wide in unison, hinges shrieking. The trunk smashed forward as the guests forced entry. Furniture toppled. I stood between the door frame and the crib, empty-handed. Mara held Noah, backing toward the window. The visitor entered. Not a body, not quite. More like a perfect shadow cast by something that loved the shape of mine. Shoulders correct, stance correct, even the tiny scar on my chin. Yet it carried no eyes, only hollows. It reached for Noah in Mara's arms with my exact gesture, a practiced evening scoop. My double spoke. 2 words. Quiet. Pleading. Give him. The dogs threw themselves against the siding outside, wood buckling. Wind roared, pressing. I shook my head. Shadow me tilted, puzzled, childlike. Then it exhaled dust and static, filling the room with a dry hiss that smelled of attic breath. I realized then it could be starved. It wanted voices, warmth, recognition. Deprive it, maybe it would ebb. I snatched the baby monitor from the floor and crushed it under my heel. Plastic burst. Circuit snapped. The hiss collapsed into a cough, surprise more than pain. Shadow me spasmed. Hollows widened. It stumbled back. I kicked the remnants under its feet. The circuitry clung, sparking. Mara lunged through the window onto the slanted porch roof, Noah against her chest. I followed. We slid, tumbled, landed hard on muddy grass. Dogs circled, barking at the house, not at us. Shadow me appeared at the broken window, more smoke than substance now. Pieces of monitor clung to its chest like barnacles. It tried to speak but managed only fragmented beeps. I carried Noah toward the road. Mara guided the dogs. The house watched, lights dying room by room, surrendering its guest. When we reached the gate, silence bloomed behind us. Nothing followed. We kept walking until dawn peeled the sky open and bled peach light over cornfields. The birds began to sing. They sang in perfect reverse. We did not stop walking until a neighbor heading to market offered a ride. She asked no questions about broken windows, muddy pajamas, or why our shoes smoked from friction. Small towns can be wonderfully polite. She dropped us at the sheriff's office. Paperwork multiplied. Deputies listened, nodded, failed to hide amusement. A patrol car rolled out toward the farmhouse. We waited under fluorescent lights, drinking bitter coffee from foam cups. Noah slept, worn out. The dogs waited in a kennel out back, tongues lolling. Mara and I sat close enough to feel each other's pulse. At 10:15 a radio call crackled. Unit 5 reporting. The farmhouse was intact, windows unbroken, doors shut. No sign of entry struggle, or steamer trunk barricade. Sheriff shrugged, said stress, new parent nerves, maybe a coyote. We could come pick up our things whenever. Mara thanked him, voice small. We rented a motel across from the station, different chain, newer carpet. Afternoon sun made everything look ordinary. Too bright for fear. I dozed while Mara showered. Half dreaming, half listening, I heard water stop. The bathroom fan clicked off. Then the shower started again, softer. I opened my eyes. The bathroom door stood ajar, steam curling. A figure moved behind frosted glass. Taller than Mara. Broad shoulders. My shoulders. It turned slowly, blurred yet unmistakable. The baby monitor lay on the nightstand. We had never retrieved its shattered remains, yet here it was, whole. Its display glowed faint blue. No plug, no battery slot visible. A single bar scrolled across the screen. Loading, loading, always nearly finished. Speaker mute? I whispered for Mara. The figure in the shower froze, listening. Water ran over it, pooling at the tub drain, pattering a rhythm. Tap, pause, tap tap. I grabbed Noah and the dogs followed, nails skittering. We fled into the hallway wearing nothing but fear and shoes. Management called the police again. 2 officers searched our room, found no intruder, only a damp towel on the floor. Shower dry. Monitor gone. They recommended sleep, maybe counseling. Night fell, bringing the motel's neon hum. Noah cried until exhaustion claimed him. I half expected the walls to answer. Midnight. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Against sense I answered. Static filled the line, but not random. A pattern emerged, rises and dips of breath. It mapped words. I'm still upstairs. I hung up, removed the battery, hurled the device into the ice bucket. Lights browned out for a second, came back. We could run forever, yet the distance remained shallow. The thing measured space emotionally, not geographically. Every upstairs was its attic, every monitor its throat. I considered surrender. An awful relief shimmered at the thought. Hand over the voice, the memories, let it walk in my place. I could sleep, empty and safe. Mara must have sensed danger in me. She touched my arm, anchored me with one look as sharp as winter dawn. She was not giving up. Neither would I. We needed help the entity could not imitate. Something older than mimicry, allergic to repetition. At dawn we drove to St. Hyacinth's, a stone church with windows like bruises. The priest listened, grave. He asked for the monitor. We produced nothing. He fetched an antique radio from the rectory basement. Pre-war, wood case, cracked dial. He tuned it between stations, found snow. White noise poured out, thick as sand. Speak into it, he instructed. Confess. Own your voice. I felt ridiculous but complied. I told the static my name, my sins, my fear. Mara did the same. Noah babbled 3 syllables that passed for honesty. The priest prayed. Latin, maybe older. Words stumbled, righted themselves, marched on. The radio howled. Pine scent filled the nave though no trees grew nearby. Candles guttered sideways. For one breath every pew groaned as if a congregation of invisible bodies stood up at once. Then quiet. True quiet. Not absence, but completion. The priest turned the dial again. Nothing but honest hiss. He smiled, small and tired. Keep it, he said. If it comes back, speak again. Noise cannot lie. We drove away carrying the radio like treasure. Somewhere between town and highway we passed our house. Boards covered windows. A for sale sign sagged. I kept driving. Weeks slipped by. Noah learned new sounds. None belonged to the visitor. Yet some nights, when the world cools and floorboards sigh, I imagine an attic somewhere, ring pulls swinging, dusty shape pacing. It practices a lullaby forward, backward, faster. Waiting. The radio sits on our dresser. I twist the knob, let it breathe static into shadows. My voice answers steady, rooted, refusing to be borrowed. For now, that is enough. But I know the call will come again. And when it does, I will be ready to confess louder than the static itself, until the attic learns what real echoes cost.